At first glance, the Luminara Celestial Academy looked like paradise. Floating quietly above the soft blue clouds of Terminus 7, it was designed to be the galaxy's perfect school, a place with no storms, no predators, and no chaos. Everything about it whispered peace and safety. But peace can be a lie, and safety can hide something far worse. Because sometimes the quietest places are where monsters learn to smile. The Academy was famous for bringing together young minds from every corner of the galaxy, future leaders, diplomats, and scientists learning to coexist. Its shiny walls and glowing corridors made it seem like a dream. But dreams can rot from the inside. Because hidden among these bright students was a girl from the one world no one truly understood. A Deathworld. And while everyone saw her as fragile, they had no idea what real danger looked like until she smiled back. The Galactic Education Committee thought it was doing something noble, allowing humans to join their academy. After all, inclusion was progress, wasn't it? But they hadn't really studied where humans came from. They came from Earth, a planet soaked in oxygen, storms, earthquakes, and predators that hunted for sport. A planet so cruel that even the dirt could kill you. The kind of world that didn't teach kindness. It taught endurance. At first, the aliens laughed at the idea of humans being dangerous. How could such small, soft creatures from a gravity-heavy rock be anything but weak? But if the Academy failed to understand them, if it treated these humans as harmless, the galaxy's safest school might become its most dangerous battleground. Because humanity's greatest strength wasn't muscle or claws, it was their refusal to give up. You could knock them down, burn them, starve them, and they'd still crawl forward, smiling through broken teeth. And if that spirit ever got loose inside a place built on fragile peace, then even a perfect world would learn what survival really means. The Luminara Academy was built to prevent conflict. Every inch of it was carefully designed. Air perfectly filtered, hallways softly lit, rules written to protect every species' feelings. On paper, it was flawless, but peace built on rules is brittle. It only takes one crack to show what's underneath. Students from 100 worlds lived together in uneasy harmony. Some breathed methane, some drank acid, and some glowed when nervous. But among them walked 43 humans, small, pink, fragile-looking things that most other species pitied. They had bones made of calcium, not metal, skin that tore easily, eyes that blinked too much, and voices that carried too far. Still, something about them made everyone uncomfortable. Maybe it was how calm they stayed under pressure. Maybe it was the strange way they laughed in dangerous situations. Whatever it was, every alien instinct whispered the same warning. Don't provoke the Deathworlders. No one ever said it aloud, of course. That would sound unfair, even fearful. But everyone knew. Humans didn't just survive their world. They thrived on it. Her name didn't matter much to the aliens who followed her. To them, she was just the human girl. Quiet, polite, and annoyingly smart. When she corrected a Krellian student named Vexthor during class, it wasn't to humiliate him. She simply wanted to help. But Vexthor came from a warrior race that treated correction as insult. And humiliation, in his culture, demanded revenge. So he and his friends began to stalk her. First with whispers, then with sabotage. Each attempt to break her was met with calm indifference. No anger, no tears, no fear. Just the same steady patience that made them feel smaller with every passing day. Until one night, Vexthor decided to end it. 4 Krellians cornered her in a dark maintenance corridor where the security cameras were known to glitch. They thought it would be easy. She was alone, unarmed, and outnumbered. But what they didn't know was that the cameras weren't broken. She had broken them, and she wasn't the one being hunted. The corridor was cold and dim, humming with the sound of power lines. Her footsteps echoed softly as she walked, not fast, not afraid. Behind her, 4 heavier sets followed, claws scratching against metal. She stopped, turned, and met their glowing eyes without blinking. "You've been hard to find, human," Vexthor said, spreading his arms like a predator ready to strike. She tilted her head, calm as ever. "Maybe you've been looking in the wrong places." He laughed, a low, rattling sound. "There are 4 of us, and you are alone. No one will see what happens here." She glanced up at the corner camera. Its light was off. "You're right," she said quietly. No one will. Then she smiled, the kind of smile that doesn't reach the eyes. Just remember, I gave you a chance to walk away. The first strike came fast, his claw aimed for her throat. She moved like water, flowing past his arm, her elbow snapping up into the soft joint of his exoskeleton. He screamed, stumbled, and before he could recover, her knee crashed into the back of his leg. Something cracked, another charged, roaring. She dropped low, swept his feet out, and let gravity do the rest. The third came swinging wildly. She waited, dodged, and landed a precise jab under the armor plate where nerves were weakest. It was over in less than a minute. When it was done, the Krellians lay scattered across the floor, wheezing and stunned. She wasn't even out of breath. She looked down at them, voice quiet but firm. You wanted to prove I was weak. Congratulations. You proved something else instead. Security arrived moments later, finding 4 injured Krellians and 1 calm, unharmed human. Report, the guard demanded. She shrugged. They slipped. Bad lighting. I was about to call for help. The guard frowned, looked at the broken camera, then back at her. Convenient timing, he muttered. Technology can be unreliable, she said, smiling faintly. Someone should probably fix that. The Krellian stayed silent. Telling the truth meant humiliation, punishment, and disgrace. So they nodded and repeated her story. 4 proud warriors who had simply fallen. The Academy's official report called it an accident. But everyone in the dorms whispered another version, the one where the Deathworld girl fought 4 predators and walked away without a scratch. The story spread across the Academy faster than light. Some laughed. Some didn't. The administrators denied everything, but they quietly upgraded the security system. The Krellians avoided maintenance corridors from then on. Weeks later, during class, Vexthor raised his hand and asked her a question about human evolution. There was no mockery in his voice this time, just curiosity. She answered kindly, explaining persistence hunting, how humans evolved to chase prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. It's not strength, she said. It's stubbornness that learned how to survive. Years later, she graduated with honors in interspecies conflict resolution. Vexthor graduated too. Quieter, wiser, and careful never to underestimate anyone again. The Academy cameras never glitched again. And somewhere, far away on a little blue planet that refused to die, another generation of humans was being born. Soft, small, and terrifyingly unstoppable. Time passed, but the memory of that night never truly faded. The story became legend, retold in whispers between classes and over late-night study sessions. Some said her eyes had gone black just before she moved. Others claimed she had used forbidden Earth techniques, ancient combat methods passed down from a world that refused to die. The truth didn't matter. What mattered was the lesson. Every student, from the smallest insectoid to the proudest predator, learned something new that week. That danger doesn't always roar. Sometimes it breathes quietly beside you in the library, smiles politely, and walks away before you realize you should be afraid. The Academy added new training modules about cultural resilience and Deathworld psychology. They called it research. The students called it survival training. Because once you meet a human, you never see fragile the same way again. Beyond the Academy, the Galactic Education Committee reviewed the reports. They couldn't prove anything, of course. No footage, no witnesses, just rumors and results. But the outcome was enough. Insurance premiums rose, policies changed, and new guidelines were added. Extra caution should be observed when housing species from high-threat environments. Diplomats debated what that meant, but soldiers understood immediately. They'd heard of humans, the species that built weapons from sticks and stones, crossed oceans in wooden boats, and turned survival into an art form. If even one student could disable 4 apex predators in 90 seconds, what could a planet full of them do? The answer was simple. Anything they decided to. The Deathworld girl never spoke of the fight again. She kept her grades high, her record clean, and her face calm. Some students thought she was just pretending to be normal. Others began to treat her like royalty. Quietly, carefully, respectfully. Years later, she became a diplomat, representing humanity in the same halls where she once fought for her dignity. Her first negotiation ended peacefully, though the alien ambassador reportedly couldn't stop sweating the entire time. As for the Krellians, they healed, bones mended, pride repaired, lessons learned. Vexthor, the once proud warrior, often told younger students to avoid dark corridors and quick assumptions. Some creatures don't need claws to be dangerous, he'd say. Some only need patience. And above Terminus 7, the Academy kept floating in its perfect orbit, quiet and peaceful once more. The cameras worked fine now, always watching, always recording. But every so often, when the lights flickered for a second too long, the staff would check the maintenance logs, just to be sure. They'd always find nothing, because monsters don't live under beds or in shadows. Sometimes they sit in classrooms writing essays about peace, and when they smile, and it's best to smile back,